Most people think books don't sell because the writing is not good enough. Well, I'm here to tell you that is not true. I've seen well-written books that did not even sell up to 50 copies. And I've seen, let's say, average books that sold thousands of copies. So the question is not, can you write? The question is, can your book sell? Can you actually sell? That's what the question is about. In this session, I'm going to show you the real reason books don't sell. And I'll tell you what you can do about it. The real problem is not writing. It's positioning. And most times, authors focus 90% of the time on the content of the book, not actually about the packaging itself. Because if you look at it most times, what sells more is not the best books don't sell more. The books that sell most in the market are the books that are well positioned, that are placed strategically for sales. So, the mistake authors make most times is that they strive to write the best book. They pay hugely for editing, for formatting, they go for the best designs. But the problem is that is not what sells. What sells starts even before the book is published. Sometimes even before you finish writing the manuscript. That is where the positioning starts. And that is where you can determine whether this book will sell or not. So there's a big myth in the publishing industry and in bookstores, where books are actually sold. And the myth is books don't, like I have on my slides here, books don't fail because of bad writing. They fail because of poor positioning. And that is what I've just explained earlier. We can actually see well-written books that struggle in the market and see books with grammatical errors, poorly formatted, that is actually selling good. So this misconception is what we should first get out of our head. What sells your book? Of course, it's the content of your book matters. But then when it comes to positioning, the actual job starts even before the content is being thought out. Writing is only half the job, because most times that's what most authors know how to do. And that's where you see authors come to a publisher like us, and the first question they ask is, so after you publish my book, can you help me sell? Because they cannot sell by themselves. Selling is a completely different game. You have to know how to write. Yes, that's your job as an author, right? But these days, even people don't know how to write are authors. You can hire a ghost writer for that. But when it comes to the marketing, it's an individual job. You have to do that by yourself. So writing is a different game. Selling is another game by itself. And the real problem, the major problem is that most authors ignore the selling part. They focus on the writing, expecting that, okay, the market will understand. So now you ask me, what exactly is positioning? There's something we call packaging, and there's something we call branding. When it comes to packaging, positioning, branding now, we are not focusing on the content. We are focusing on the perception. How does this appear in the market? Not actually what is inside. How does it appear in the market? It's just how people run scams these days. They package the item in a very beautiful way. But it's until unwrap it and everything, you now begin to see that, well, this is actually nonsense. Which brings me to the point that even nonsense can sell. You don't have to write sense before you can sell. Of course, writing sense is good for the long term, but to be accepted in the market, you have to focus on your branding, your positioning. So in summary, what sells your book is not what you wrote, but how it is seen. Because before people get to the content, the perception matters. Passion alone does not sell, and profit alone lacks depth. You need both. The combination of passion and profit, that's actually what sells. So now, where do you find the balance? As authors, most times, we mostly write what comes to our head, what we feel the society needs, based on inspiration and all that. But at the same time, you need to look at the market. What is the market buying? What is selling at this, when let's look at the entertainment industry for a while. You see that most times our musicians, they don't sing they don't sing what comes to their head at times. That's where we have trends. They sing what the market is buying at that particular time. So whether it's Afrobeat, rap, R&B, whatever is selling at that particular time, you see musicians shift into that trending market just to be able to make sales. So, and that is what we are talking about here. The balance is what people want and what you care about. What do you think you have that the market needs? What do you think people want to read? But at the same time, is it something that is currently selling? Does it have an existing market? Before you write the first word in your manuscript, you need to conduct market research. How many of these type of books in this particular niche has been sold? What is the Amazon report on this particular niche? Is it selling? You need to take those things into consideration even before you start writing. The critical questions you should ask are: 1, who needs this? 2, are they searching for it? 3, will they pay? So in context, there are several things you need to know as an author beyond figures of speech, whether you want to write prose, poetry, drama. Those things matter. But actually, you need to conduct SEO research. Look for what people are searching for. Look for what people are paying. What is the average cost of a book in that particular niche? Does it pay you? You need to contact a publisher. Okay, what will printing this book cost me? Look at the average cost of that book in that market. Is it profitable? These are the critical questions you need to ask yourself even before you start writing. I am not saying that when the inspiration comes, you cannot pen them down. But what determines when you should publish is what the market tells you at that point. Before you spend huge sum of money, publishing is not cheap. So before you spend that kind of money on your book, you should know how responsive the market is to books in that niche at that particular time. And that is the most important thing. Let's talk about the decision factors. Number 1, relevance. How relevant is this book to the market at this particular time? How welcoming is it? That's one of the decision factors. Number 2 is clarity. What signals are you receiving from the market? Is it clear enough? Does it help with your decision making? With that signal, can you make a decision that, okay, this is the right time to publish this material? Does it look like something that is selling at this particular time? The number 3 is the passive value, which I think I've mentioned something related to that earlier. What is the average market value for books in this niche at this particular time? Then, is this something that can work? For instance, on our self-publishing toolkit, we have a tool. We call it the book cost calculator. It helps you, navigate the market based on what books in your niche actually cost at that particular time, which means how much are people paying for this kind of books. What matters is the niche, the number of pages in your book, what the book is about. It will give you an insight into how much people are willing to part with to get a copy of your book. So those insights are what you match together that helps with your decision making. The harsh truth is, unclear books are ignored. Now, you see, the funniest thing is they won't be rejected, just ignored, because your books are still there. Even if you consult us for the digital distribution, you still find your books on Amazon. It's still on Google Books, on Barnes and Noble. Those are big markets where author sells millions of copies. Your books is there. So it's just ignored. It is not rejected because the content is good. It fits all the content guidelines, the checks, everything. It is right for the market. So it won't be rejected. It is just there, staying idle. Nobody is buying. The final takeaway here is writing is not enough. Positioning is everything. Or in other words, packaging is everything. Branding is everything. So what next? What should you write in order to sell? Well, meet me in the next session.